impact he had on his fellows and our people didn't strike me until the service we had for him. And I'm seeing that now too. I mean, he, Reggie was an institution, I guess, and I'm honored to be, even through marriage, related to an institution. He was just always so indefatigable. I just have to say, even through the last year or so, we talk on the phone and still bust on me about the Mets, and the Marlins would win on the phone would break, and I wouldn't answer. And I just want to say, my sister Carol, you've been a saint. I don't know. I mean, what you've done and how you did all you could, and I want to learn from that and draw from that. So I just want to thank you all, and I just want to represent someone from the family other than Carol to say something, and it's an honor to be here. And I'll miss him, though I didn't actually see him that much. I get to talk as much if you read about that. I feel more complete now, so thank you.
Hello, everybody. My name is Laura, and I'm a fellow horn colleague. I wanted to wear a happy musical shirt today because Reggie brought a lot of happiness to people, joy, laughter, and I feel that he enriched a lot of our lives. He certainly enriched mine. And I met Reggie when I was 15 years old, which it goes back a long way. He was my first horn teacher, and I went to University of Miami band camp, and that's where I first met Reggie. And I didn't have much confidence as a horn player, but encouraged me and mentored me and pushed me. And he did see, the good things in each one of us. And all of us that are connected to music, I think that we're so fortunate because music just fills us up with just so much emotion. We have soul and we have passion, and I think that we're the lucky ones that have music in our lives. And I want to say thank you to Carol, because I know you certainly enriched Reggie's life. And I'm happy to have known him over the years, and we played in community bands, community orchestras. We were in a horn club together, and the horn players were just a unique bunch. We all have this special connection with one another. So to some of the people I see out here from the musical community, I just say thank you to all of you, because we're all connected, and I will always keep Reggie in my heart. Thanks.
1998 to 2002. I played saxophone my first freshman year, and then when I first met Reggie Nicholson, he came my 10th grade year to teach concert band and orchestra and the jazz band. At that time, I was still playing tenor saxophone, and my saxophone broke, so they had to send it to the shop, and I took it upon myself to fall asleep in the back of the band during rehearsal. So Nicholson, I guess he noticed I was sleeping, and he came over to me with a French horn. And then he woke me up, and he said, go in the back and blow on this. So that's when I first started learning how to play French horn. He would give me private lessons during class, and he basically just sat me in the French horn section, and I didn't really know what I was doing, but I was basically learning from there, from that point on. I reached my 12th grade year, and by that time I was great. I was section leader and superior in the Winter Festival, I think we went to. We used to go to. Thank you. So an ensemble. And he basically taught me, as well as my class of 02, how to really appreciate and love music. He was very passionate about what he did, and a great conductor, instructor, teacher, friend. And he's going to be missed. He's in a better place. And we do love you. We're going to miss you.
Hi, my name is Nancy Gabian. I was once the president of the North Miami Concert Band, and the first time I met Reggie, he was sitting in and playing with us. And I remember I turned around and I said, I don't want to insult you, but that's about an eighth note in 16. Played it, you missed it, it wasn't quite right. I said, I hope I'm not insulting you. He goes, gee, you're right. And we started talking after that, and we became very friendly. And the North Miami Band at that time had been through a number of conductors who were not so hot. And I was able to bring Reggie in as our first truly great conductor. And that was the beginning of a beautiful friendship, as they say. And then he also started the community orchestra in Miami Beach. I wasn't playing that. And that's how I met Carol. And Carol and I became very good friends. And Reggie and I, we became best of friends, all of us. But I have to say that because of Reggie, the North Miami group improved tremendously. We became a really decent group. We played the best we ever played with Reggie at the helm. We did some really intricate pieces. We sounded like a decent wind orchestra. And we were proud to be a part of that group and proud to be with Reggie, because he was just such a supreme musician. And his style really kind of bugged some people, and we lost a few people because they thought he was too temperamental. And I said, hey, look, you know, if you practiced, you wouldn't bother him. Practice. That's the name of the game. And I kind of felt, if you're not going to practice, don't bother coming back. And he and I were of the same mind. We just want that group to sound good. And that was really his whole methodology. We just want this group to sound good. And I remember the former mayor, Alex Dare of Miami Beach, this was before he was convicted and sent to jail, wanted to conduct a piece at one of our concerts. And Reggie said, gee, maybe I should give him the Barber of Seville. I said, "Don't you dare." I said, "With that intricate beginning?" He said, "It'll be a disaster." I said, "Do me a favor, just give him," we were also playing Stars and Stripes. I said, "Just give him Stars and Stripes. All he has to do is wave a stick. Nobody will follow him. We can all play by ourselves without a conductor, and we'll be fine." And sure enough, that's what he did. Alex's dad was waiting up here on some upbeat that had nothing to do with what we were playing, and we managed. Thank God he didn't do Barbara Seville. And Reggie and I had a lot of fun together. And I remember the funniest moment came when we were doing West Side Story, and we had an oboe player who unfortunately is dead. She's no longer with us. Her pitch wasn't the greatest, and she ended on a note that was definitely not in tune. And the flute was supposed to come in, and that was me. And I hadn't come in yet. It was just the oboe. And the oboe was definitely out of tune. And Reggie goes, "Flute, you're out of tune. You're sharp." And I said, "I haven't played anything yet." "I'm still out of tune." "I haven't played anything yet." He goes, "You're still sharp." So I just said, "Okay, whatever you want." So that's kind of how our relationship went. And I was very sad to see him go, but he went to a better place. He went to the Alhambra Orchestra. And we had two kind of very strange people in between. Well, I won't mention any names. But actually, we have Michael Dressman now, who has turned out to be a godsend. And we've been doing very well with him. But I have to thank Reggie for all that he did, which was absolutely wonderful, and all that Carol did, because she played with us. And the last couple of months, I spent a lot of time with Reggie and Carol. I would go down and sometimes spend several hours, and I would bring my Alan King joke book and sit there and read to him, and I'd read all these Jewish jokes to Reggie, and he would have a ball listening to them. And I belong to a Reform synagogue, which is the most liberal. And I said, "Reggie, every week when I go, we say a NAVEIRA, which is a prayer for those who are in need of healing." So the rabbi always asks for those of us in the synagogue to say the names of people who are in need of healing. And I would always say Reginald Nicholson. And I'm sure the rabbi's wondering, who the hell is that? Is that a member of the congregation? He sure doesn't sound Jewish. Reggie was always grateful for the prayers that he could get from whatever religion they came from. And I will make sure that his name goes in our bulletin. And for those of us who are mourning him, and make sure that every year it appears on his date of death, as we remember him every year, because he was such a wonderful person. And I was glad to spend the last few months helping him and talking to him and reading to him and just spending time with him. And when he was lucid again with the pain medication, he said, "Nancy, what are you doing here? I hear that laugh of yours. It's great to hear you. I'm so glad you're here." So I was glad that I could be of help with him and with Carol, giving her a little bit of a respite. And I know she could use it. And I'm glad I was able to cheer him up in his last few days. And I just want to say, Reggie, I hope you have a great time up there. And I'm glad you're not in pain anymore. And God bless you.
cared about good music. And to me, that's what I always thought about with Reggie. If I showed up for a job where I wasn't really sure like what musicians might be on the job, if Reggie and Carol were there, as soon as I walked in, it's like, oh, this is going to be a good orchestra. And I talked to Reggie about a lot of non-musical things throughout the years too. Reggie was a heavy guy. He thought a lot about some serious topics, including what happens to us after we die. I remember talking to him about that. I voiced my opinion, and no slight to clergy or anyone else here. I told him, Reggie, I believe in reincarnation. I talked to him about that. And if I'm correct, well, I certainly pray that I get to play in an orchestra with Reggie in the next life, too. When I think back, I do want to share one little story with you, because I remember having a lot of laughs with Reggie, a lot of conversations in between, a lot of good music. And there was one time about 3 or 4 years ago, sometimes I pass out some writings to some friends of mine, people that I meet, hey, I think I've discovered this or that, some kind of Einstein religious kind of thing, maybe political writing. I passed out one thing to Reggie, and he read it, he goes, wow, this is some stuff, and somehow it came up to that I faxed it to the White House or whatever. He goes, oh, he goes, that explains it. I go, what do you mean, Reggie? He goes, well, you know, I'm with this sailing club in Coconut Grove. And I go, yeah. And he goes, one of the members of the club is like Secret Service, Homeland Security. You know the story, Carol? Yeah. And I'm going, really? And he goes, yeah. And he goes, he found out that I was a professional musician, and he asked me, hey, do you know this Brad Watson guy? And I'm looking at Reggie like, and Reggie says, oh yeah, I know Brad. And he goes, well tell me, something about this Watson guy, what's he like? I mean, is he, and Reggie says, well, yeah, he's nuts. Remember that part? And I said, oh yeah, to the Secret Service guy. Oh yeah, he's nuts, but he's a really good percussionist. And I remember saying to Reggie, like, yeah, thanks, Reggie, I think. Anyway, we're all going to miss Reggie, especially this week with the symphony. We're playing the planets, and it's like I was trying to leave an empty chair for him today in the orchestra. I'm really going to work on that for the rest of the week. I think it'd be a really nice tribute to leave an empty chair all week, including the concerts for Reggie.
My name is Commissioner Mark Sarnoff. The reason I say that is I actually met Reggie in the summer of '06, and he was very, very ill, and I was walking around, going door to door in the Grove, and I got to meet Reggie and got to know him. And of course, once Reggie figured he got to know the commissioner, that meant that the Alhambra Orchestra had a benefactor in City Hall. And it did, and it does. Reggie would love to come to City Hall, and he would say to me, so you like this job? He goes, what's election day like? And I said, well, I've been through 2 election days, and I can tell you what my perspective is, and I can tell you what other commissioners or other elected officials' perspective is. I said, from my perspective, it's like asking 100 women out for a date and hoping that 51 say yes. He said he wouldn't have a problem with that. I said, most people would give you this perspective, Reg. I said, most elected officials would say it's like it's being allowed to see your own funeral, seeing who shows up. This would be a great election day for Reg.
My name is Eduardo Martlet. I'm the music director of the Miami Symphony. When we started rehearsing this morning, the planet, as Bart was saying, we gave a minute of silence in Reggie's honor. And at the end, I was telling our musicians that something I can remember very special about Reggie. I felt somehow, and he made me feel this week, after I learned about his passing, that we should live a life as there's no tomorrow. We should live the present. Because that's the way he lived it. He knew for so many years that it was going to be an end coming soon, and he had that cheerful look and a wonderful sense of humor all the time. And yet, he also lived his life as if he was going to be learning for the rest of the millennium. I mean, he was always there to learn. I remember when I was not here in town and I was elsewhere, we could spend 3 hours on the phone talking about a symphony. And with this typical humility that he had, he said, "Maestro, I want to rehearse this, conduct with the Alhambra, and I want to learn it better." And we went through every single measure, every single bar, discussing it. And that really amazed me so much. So I know him only very briefly because I've been with the symphony only the last 3 years, but he was very important for the transition that the symphony has been going through, because he really believed in what we are doing now, and he believed that the orchestra should go to the places we are taking it now. And also, even he found a replacement for himself, which that his vision was so amazing. He found us one of his best home players, tremendous talent. So all I can say to you guys is that we have memories of someone who is still alive within ourselves, and someone who, with great pride, I can hold him today. Thank you, Maestro.
I represent the class of 2003. And going into orchestra I did mostly because I didn't want to go to my home high school, which was subpar. And being in orchestra was probably one of my favorite classes, even though we had to play at 7:30 in the morning. First high school student, it's maybe not the best hour. And somehow Reggie came to class every day with the energy and vigor to try and teach us and to pound those notes into our fingers so that we could perform and go and get superiors. And he would always tell us these little anecdotes and these little stories about this other students that he's taught or experiences that he had. And I know I'm going to get the story wrong, but it's the moral of the story that really matters. He had a student when he was teaching in elementary school who wouldn't speak. And he handed that child an instrument to give it a voice. The child spoke and said, "We play." And if that's not touching to anybody here, then I don't understand. That epitomizes who Reggie was. He trusted his students and he gave them life and he gave them a voice, sometimes when they didn't have one of their own. The other story is the year I graduated. Every summer, Reggie and Carol would go to Virginia to play. And some group up there, I'm not really sure the specifics, and he needed someone to take care of his cats. And he asked me to do that. A student who'd known for 3 years, he gave me the trust to take care of his animals and take care of his home. That's just who he was. He could see who you were and see if you were worthy of his trust and his love. Reggie, I just am going to miss him so much, and I have so many regrets about missed opportunities to spend time with him. And I guess I encourage everyone to spend the time you have with people you love and care about, because you never know when they're going to be taken away.
Good afternoon, everyone. I bring you greetings from Miami Beach Senior High School. I have to say to all you highbrow music players, they took a Brahms playing, orchestra leading gentleman and gave him a high school marching band. It was amazing to see a man take a bunch of students who, before he got there, were just a ragtag bunch of people that just played music and blowed through the horns. He made a marching band. I remember one day we were doing a competition. We went to Naples. We were standing on top of a van. Can you imagine that? On top of one of the band parents' band. I'm directing this way for my dancers. He's directing this way for the band. But that was the kind of person he was. Just like the young lady just said, he gave children instruments and made them use them, made them excited about music. There are some students here who would not have made it through high school had it not been for him. There are students that will tell you right now, I would have never come to school if I knew that if I missed band practice, I couldn't get my position in the band, I couldn't march, I couldn't be there, so I had to be there. Reggie did that. There were some students that came from the ESE department. There were students who came from the AP department. He treated them all like they were his children. I tell Carol, that was my husband. I had it before she did. I did. We were like a married couple. We argued, we fussed, but he knew it was out of love. We loved each other. We loved the students. We loved our school. And believe me, for all the highbrow music that he played, he was a fantastic marching band director also. We went to competitions and we came back with superiors. There's so many students that are in the audience right now that can attest to this. If it had not been for Mr. Reginald Nicholson, they would not have made it through high school. He was one of the most genuine people I've ever known. He tried to get cynical on you, but you knew he was just a big teddy bear, and that's all he was doing was just running his mouth. I loved him to death. I loved him to death. And I love Carol also. I know it's going to be very, very